They're classy too, man. I can wear this on a date.
People who are most successful are the ones who don't just give up.
We have officially partnered up with Albemarle Paper Supply. Albemarle Paper Supply services paper products within the cities of Charlotte, Concord, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Salisbury, Morrisville, and smaller cities in between. From fiber, plastic, and foam bowls, paper towels, tissues, napkins, takeout containers, gloves, to janitorial supplies, and much, much more, Albemarle Paper is dedicated to bring you the paper goods you need. Customers can pick up products directly at Albemarle Paper's warehouse located at 735 Henson Street in Albemarle, North Carolina, or products can be delivered to you at your business doorstep. Today's live is also brought to you by CL Driving School. CL Driving School is a truck driving school located in Indian Trail, offering programs for both commercial Class A and Class B licenses. With your choice between automatic and manual transmission, their classes consist of small group trainings with one instructor per truck. Training is available on weekdays, weekends, and evenings. Not only do you receive classes, but opportunities for sponsorship programs, recruiter visits, and job placement assistance also occurs. CL Driving School is also trilingual with classes offered in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Register for classes today by calling 704-821-1111. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the MLS Corner, one of the best corners in all of the MLS. I am excited today. It is great to start off the week with a Charlotte FC win. And today I have some very special guests with me. The man, the myth, the legend, the man with one of the greatest smiles in all of Charlotte. We got Lee from CLTFC Fan TV. How are you, my man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Why you covering your face?
I didn't want everybody to see me smile. Now you put me on the spot. Tell me I look like the kid off of what was it? What'd you say? Finding Nemo, the one with the braces.
When you do like a particular smile, it's
Is it just a particular one?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But,
what's going on?
We're good, man. We're excited. And then I have our special guest today, my man Voss from Soccer Subs Podcast. Listen, I met Voss for the very first time at Charlotte's inaugural game, and I gotta say, man, you're a class guy, my guy. So I'm so happy to have you on.
Jorge, thank you so much for having me on, man. It was a pleasure meeting you down there while the inaugural home match was going, and I'm just happy to finally be discussing some Charlotte soccer. And we have a lot to talk about. Our teams are about to meet, so we got quite the topics to cover. And Lee, it's a pleasure seeing you as well, bro. It was awesome seeing you down there as well. So it's good to see you again.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise, man. It was a good time to be had by all.
And just to answer this quickly, Heidi, we usually have our shows on Tuesdays, but I had a very important event to go to tomorrow that it got canceled. And it was like I had already promoted for today and had everybody set up. So there's no point in trying to switch it to tomorrow, but I appreciate you.
No, otherwise, Heidi be putting, why are you not doing a live show tonight? So.
Which I love. Voss, yeah. for the people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
So I am a half Greek, half Peruvian New Yorker, born here in Queens, who's been a fan of the MLS since all the teams played in baseball stadiums. You always got to see a MLS fan's jersey to see if they got one of these logos, one of the inaugural patches, because they don't make them like that anymore, But I've been a fan of the Redbulls since they were the Metro Stars. Happy to say, maybe unfortunately because we haven't won a title yet, but yeah, just a soccer-loving individual from the tri-state area.
Nice. I love that, man. I'm gonna see if you're really a true Metro Stars fan. Do you know who Amado Guevara is?
El Lobo, bro. The blue-eyed assassin, of course. He was one of the guys who got me involved with the Metro Stars. He was a legend. He's one of our all-time leaders in goals and assists and appearances, so he is quite the legend in these parts.
All right, so Voss is officially certified as a Red Bull fan because, I just know of him because he's Honduran. I remember, the few Metro Star games that I watched, it was to watch Amado. This was a long time ago.
Bro, he was a class act in Giant Stadium, and he got to wear both colors of the Redbulls and the Metro Stars. So that's a pretty unique place that he holds in our history.
I love that. I love that, man. See, Lee, this is why I bring quality guests on. You see that?
I'm not sure how I'm going to take that, man. I mean, are you trying to say I'm a quality guest or am I not? You know,
You always
this guy.
complain that we bring on Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans. Listen,
Yeah, well, no, but we didn't ask him what his Premier League team is.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, you guys aren't wrong. But anytime someone asks me, like, oh, European team, like you're a big Red Bulls guy, but who do you support in Europe? I get the equal amount of blank stares because I'm by nature an Olympiacos fan. But look, man, Arsenal has a special place in my heart.
See,
I'm
right
sorry, Lee. I
boss,
was
it's not your
I was
fault, man.
falling in love with them
It's
from before
lackluster
the Invincible
production going on
days.
over here, man. It's lackluster production over here. This show's going to hell, man. You got to do better, man. You got to do better.
One day we'll bring on another Spurs fan. Eventually,
I mean, but Spurs did finish above Arsenal, so we'll just leave that right there.
You're not wrong, man. It was quite a up and down season for the Gunners, but I'm hoping Arteta can steer the ship in the right way.
Sure, keep him around. We love him over at Spurs.
Yeah. Listen, man, I don't know if Conte, we're going off topic, but I don't know, Conte's the type of guy that will be successful and then leave. So I feel like this is success for Spurs. And he might just bounce if he doesn't get money.
We'll see. We'll see what happens after we win the league next year.
But anyway,
Best of luck. Best of luck.
Topic, Charlotte FC. Charlotte took a 2-1 victory this weekend against a really, really limited Vancouver team who came with virtually no goalies. Yep, their top striker was out. I mean, this was a must-win game for Charlotte, and I think we did it. We put up a must-win performance, which was great. And so I kind of want your thoughts on the game. So we'll start off with Lee.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they scored early, and that was kind of nerve-wracking. For once, our defense, at least our center backs, they didn't look as sure as they normally look. Normally, Guzman and Fuchs, when they're partnered up, it's pretty solid back there. And then obviously Guzman had that bullshit clearance, right? Which then the ball ended up at Fuchs's left feet. And then, obviously it was blocked, and then the goal. And then at the game, I thought I wasn't really happy as well as we played, but then when I rewatched the game today, we were a lot better than what I thought. The only disappointment I would say about the game is we just didn't test the keeper as much. I mean, we took some shots at him, but half of them wasn't even on target. I just feel like, with a young rookie back there, I mean, 17 years old, right? That we could have done a little more damage. Maybe got 3 or 4-1, but a win's a win.
Yep. And I didn't think I had the clip. I couldn't find it, but I do actually. So I'm going to play just the goals for you guys real quick. So we started off with that free shoot header. Honestly, the goalie could have done better. But given that he's a 17-18-year-old, you really got to give him a try. And then this goal right here, Ortiz, you want to say pass? Well, it looked like he was shooting, and Daniel Rios scored with
Man, we were lucky on that second goal, man.
We were very, very lucky on the second goal. I agree with you in terms of testing the keeper. The only guy out there that I liked that was testing the keeper was Jordi Alcivar. And so,
Yeah,
I mean,
he had a really good game.
Yeah, he did. He had a couple of shots from outside of the box to try to test the keeper. And if you notice, a couple of the corners that he was putting in, especially in the first half, were very narrow to try to force the goalkeeper to make a mistake. And so I thought he had a great game. Huh?
We need to be testing him more than just on corners, though.
No, of course. That was one of my complaints, especially in the first half. We had a lot of possession, but we weren't doing much with that possession.
Yeah. I think that's our story for the season, though, right? When it comes to the top third of the pitch, at least.
100%.
Yeah, Vargas, he
Boston
came on, he lit it up.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna-
for the Vancouver match, I honestly never see the Vancouver Whitecaps start off that strong. You know, they always struggle for goals on the road, even at home. And without any of their star strikers, it should be I thought it was going to be a little bit of a tricky affair. And some of the players that did stand out though for Charlotte had to be like you mentioned, Christian Fuchs. I think Brant Bronico had a great performance.
Yeah, Brent.
And, you know, he's always one of the most consistent performers for your team. And I think he really stood out in a good way. But I was surprised how much Swidarski had struggled to try to find space in between the defenders. Because I don't usually think of Vancouver as a team that could defend well and compact. So just really, really caught me off guard that they almost got a result on the road against a Charlotte team that usually tends to nullify the opposition, and they make it hard for any team to get 3 points out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
especially-
lucky on the goal, though. I mean, they got the lucky bounce right and
Yeah.
scored. I mean,
That was gonna be my we made it harder on ourselves than it should have really been that game. You know, especially with that first goal that Vancouver scored. I mean, it was a Fuchs mistake, and then
I'm not blaming
And then-
Fuchs, I'm blaming Guzman.
and then from there we just had to kind of come back into that game. And so I think what I preached the most last week was we just got to make sure we get 3 points. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, we would have all loved a 5-0, 4-0, 3-0. But at the end of the day, we got the 3 points. Even Miguel in his press conference said, "We're like, how important was this win?" He's like, "It's crucial," and he's right. If we're wanting to stay within those playoff spots and actually make a playoff game, we got to stay within those top spots.
Yeah, but like what Joshua was saying in the comments, man, we get inside the box and try to pass the ball way too much. I mean, we try to play like City, and I would rather you just shoot.
Yeah.
And that's the same bitch and gripe every game that we play, right? That once we kind of finally have opportunity, we just kind of slow down or pass it back or try to walk the damn ball in.
100%. But I kind of want to, before we get into like specific players, well, now that we are getting into specific players, I want to highlight 2 players that I thought that just kind of came to my head based on recent performances and based on what I've seen. The first one is Andre Shinyashiki. I mean, the guy has come in and has just been a goal scorer for us. 3 goals in 4 games. I mean, he's a guy that's, I feel like not only he's adding on the pitch, but also adding into the locker room. And he's been at the right places at the right time, has added to this team, and that's what we need. I mean, guys that are going to come in and we need goals, and he's bringing them.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Jorge. I'm pretty sure I had messaged you when they picked up Andre Shinyashiki and told you that he is a baller, dude. I've been a fan of him since his Rapids days, and like you said, 3 goals in 4 matches just shows the kind of quality that he brings to this attack, and I think it's complementing Swidarski incredibly well. And I just wanted to bring up one more point on the result because I forgot to mention how much character it showed for Charlotte to come from behind. Even though it was like a little bit of a fluke goal, it still showed that grit and character to come from behind and win a match. And it was a very, very crucial game because in the MLS, as a home team, you need to get points. And some of the Redbulls are, you know, having a really hard time doing. So it's a crucial 3 points that you guys did pick up to just stay within that playoff spot.
100%. I mean, that's a good point you bring up because this is the first time in Charlotte FC's history where we've gone down and we've actually been able to turn around a result. I mean, every other time that we've gone down, we haven't even been able to pick up a draw. But this game, we actually won this game, which, I mean, I think that's very important. Like you said, we have to stay consistently strong at home and try to pick up points away. Lee, your thoughts on Shinyashiki?
Yeah, I mean, he's very active, right? He's a nuisance. He's always involved. He's making those runs. He's doing what he was brought to do. I think we got him. It was a steal, right? I think it was like 250 GAM or something like that. I mean, that's free money.
Yeah. Peanuts, as they say in the league.
That's it, Peanuts, yeah. So no, I think he's definitely was a good pickup.
Awesome. So yeah, Andre, great guy too. Just a couple of chances that I've gotten to speak to him. Seems like a good dude with a good head on his shoulders. And then the other guy that we have to talk about, the guy that I've been telling you about, Lee. Remember last week? I said watch out for this guy. Is Kerwin Vargas, the U22 player, our latest signing. And he had just a couple minutes that he had in the game were actually spectacular. I got a couple of clips that I want to play for you guys. So he made his official debut for Charlotte FC. I mean, after 2 training sessions, which lets you know Miguel saw this guy was ready to go. And this is what we've been lacking and shoot. So here's the goal that and then in the game. You know what? If you look at some of these plays, I feel like most of our wingers or our players that are in that final third would look to try and find a pass. Kerwin's like, nah, homie, I'm going to take it on and I'm going to shoot. And he looked very, very lively on that wing. And so something that we've been crying about all season is somebody that's actually going to take shots on goal. This guy came in and was fearless and said, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if Carroll would put his foot on that one shot, right, that would have probably been in the back of the net. Finally, we have somebody that's willing to drive at the defenders. I mean, Jaws was doing it too yesterday, but you can see Vargas. He's gonna break some ankles, man. He's gonna put some people on their ass again, like you know we've done to a couple of players this year. But yeah, great pickup, man. Not scared to shoot, and that's all we can ask for, man. You know, it's just get some of those balls on target, get the rebounds, slip in, whatever, right? We'll take the cheap goals too.
Yeah, and it allows Sudarski to stay more centrally because I feel like when he doesn't have a lot of pieces to complement his attack, he tends to try to drift or stay a little deeper. So I think allowing Vargas to have that freedom to run at defenders, take people on, is just going to allow Sudarski to stand out a little more as well. And I think that he has that young player's mentality, Vargas. You know, like he is fearless, like you just said. He does not care who you are. You're going to be the best paid player in the league. He's going to take you on, and he's going to try to score. And Max Anger was, I think, a little bit lucky to not have gotten a goal scored against them, you know, because he was playing on top of his head. But incredible stuff from Vargas.
Yeah. 100% agree with both of them. And this is a good point too about like why we lack on there. We just don't have that creative 10. And I mean, the clubs mentioned it. Our sporting director came out and said that we're prospecting a young attacking midfielder DP, which makes sense. I mean, we lack that creativity. Titi Ortiz has not been it for us. I think I want to give a special shout out to Jordi Alcivar as well, who had a great game. He's not a 10. He's not that natural attacking midfielder. But having said that, like if we ever play in that diamond, I would want him above Sergio Ruiz in that diamond to try to create as well, because I think in terms of midfielders, he's probably the one that thinks the fastest.
Yeah, well, hopefully we don't do the diamond again. Let's put that to rest. Let's not have the diamond anymore. No more diamond. Not for a while, anyways.
And then I've seen a lot of criticism online about Ben Bender, man. And this was something that, like, not that I warned, but I talked a little bit about at the beginning of the season. Like, we can't get too hype with him just because he's still young, man. He's still adapting to the MLS. I mean, this weekend, he didn't have his best game, if you really think about it. He looked slow on the ball. His decision-making, too, like, needs to pick up. But, I mean, it's part of the process of learning to go. You're jumping from college ball to MLS ball. And it's just something that we need to consider. Like, okay, like, as good as he is, it's going to take time for him to actually develop.
Yeah, as a fan of the Redbulls, we've had one too many players that we have tried to develop. And, you know, after like 2-3 appearances, they're very quick to just put them off to the side and maybe trade him or cut him. So I think Charlotte is doing well in giving Ben Bender as much game time in his inaugural season to gain all that experience to have an even better sophomore year because, like you said, he's right out of college. The speed of the game is a little different, and he has been on the score sheet and on the assists. So I think he's your top assister at the moment with 4 assists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think he
You
just
got all the stats better than us, buddy.
yeah, yeah, I think he does have 4 assists on the season, and he is only going to get better. And growing pains are something that, as a fan base, we all have to learn how to do because we're very quick. Even myself, sometimes I see a guy who comes to mind was Ben Mines, scored a goal in his debut, 18 years old, and where is he now? He's in Cincinnati, barely getting minutes, getting loaned out, and he had such a promising career. So I just hope that Charlotte just gives Ben Bender a little more time. Don't be quick to judge, one bad game and bench him, So I think maybe, like someone just said, give him a 90 minutes, and regardless of his performance, don't sub him out because that's just going to kill his confidence, man. And I think as a young player, that's very important. Like Vargas, like if you don't allow him to have that freedom, maybe he's not going to play as good. So I just think that Ben Bender might just have a little bit of a slump this game, but is going to come back strong.
Yeah, I think
we're
the guy
really
was saying the opposite. But I think in terms of I do think he needs a couple of minutes benched and coming off as that extra energy in maybe the second half. I can see that as well. The thing is, Titi Ortiz hasn't worn enough to say put him ahead of Ben Bender. Lee, are you disagreeing with me? You kind of giving.
No, I was gonna say we're not really complaining about Bender, right? I think obviously he was thrown into the mix just because we didn't have the players to begin with, right? He kind of came out, he shined, he got everybody's attention. Now everybody's like, well, he's not keeping it up to what he's been playing, right? But I think, and I'm sure most will agree, right, that now we got some of our other players coming in, right? And if we get this number 10 at some point, right, Bender's probably going to be a sub, right? He's going to be more depth than a starter. And, I wouldn't mind him coming in on the 65th, 70th minute, when we're up and just add that spark too. But yeah, I mean, we was all expecting, right? We couldn't expect this guy to be a stud all season, right? He was going to have some off games. So here we are.
100%. But I just feel like there's been a lot of criticism towards him lately, which I understand. Maybe he hasn't played the best, but still, I mean, he provides a lot. He also is one of the few midfielders that tracks back and tries to help in defense, kind of like Alan Franco as well. But it's just I think we need to continue to develop Ben Bender and not get too hype when he scores and not get too low when he doesn't have the best of games.
It's fine to get hype when he scores. Just don't ride his ass when he's not having the best game.
Exactly.
100%. All right. Any final thoughts on Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean, Fuchs went out, right? Do we know if he's hurt or if he's going to be playing?
I don't think
Miguel
they've confirmed it yet, right?
Yeah, Miguel mentioned last night that he wasn't aware, but it didn't. He didn't give us that promising he looks like he's going to be okay. So we still have.
Fuchs would have been up, high fiving everybody and all that kind of stuff, and he actually went off, right? So he was hurt.
So I doubt that we see him against the Redbulls.
And I also want to give a shout out to Mora too, man. He's been playing pretty well recently. He got a lot of stick at the beginning of the season saying he wasn't going to cut it. And I think he's quietly becoming a much better player for Charlotte.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He looks better defensively now. That was I still think he doesn't provide enough going forward, but he's been solid in the back. How about a fool? I really like him.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to mention my boy Harrison Awful, man. He is like I told you in person, he is a MLS All-Star caliber left back. And even at 35, I think he had a great game against the Whitecaps. He pushes the ball forward. He has the knowledge to track back and not leave as much open space. And on the Fuchs part, man, it sucks to lose a leader like him in defense because he and Awful have rolled back the years. One's 37, I think. The other one's 35, but they're playing like they're in 28, 29, getting games in. So hoping that Fuchs has a quick recovery. But, yeah, the way that he was coming off the field and he's usually a little bit more, even if he's getting subbed out, he'll stay on and wait for the 90 minutes, show love to the fans, show love to his teammates. So I'm just a little worried on that front. But, as a Red Bulls fan, I don't want to have that bad juju and say, he's injured. Even better for us. Our attackers that could barely score have one less defender to worry about, But just I think it was a great win again, man. It just shows
it
you
was a
needed
neat
those 3
win.
points.
And one thing that we criticized Miguel last week was the formation and how respectful he was of Montreal. This week we got to give him praise. The formation he put out was very attack-minded. And
he was listening to us. He tuned into the show, watched it, and realized where he made a mistake and fixed it. You're welcome.
Miguel, listen, bro. Let me get some of that MLS coach check. So
get him on the sidelines. We need Jorge and Lee hitting him with tactics, man.
That's it.
Hey,
Calling it in. Jorge, you're on. Go.
Nice, awesome. So let's move on to this Wednesday's match then against New York Red Bulls. And for that's the reason we got my man Voss. Voss, tell us a little bit about New York Red Bulls season so far.
Look, man, if you would have told me at this point in the season that we'd be 5th in the East on 20 points, we'd have 5 road wins, almost the perfect road record on the 7 games that we've played, 5 wins, 1 draw, and just our first loss on the road this season, this past Sunday. Right. I would have called you a liar and just not even given you any time of day, because it's like every year, not to sound like a negative Nancy, but every year I just lose hope in this franchise, man. I know it's one thing to try to go young, but when you're not consistently bringing in proven talent to complement your young stars or your potential future players, it's just going to be a lot of I don't know if you guys keep up with the second teams, but the Red Bulls second team I think they had 2 wins, 3 wins all year in the USL Championship last year. So to say that, we're developing talent, just like Tyler Adams or during the players that we brought in, like Aaron Long, I'd be lying to you. So I am happy that they're in this position, but I'm worried that in a league that is so home dominant, you cannot pick up a win at home. They can't win to save their lives at Red Bull Arena. And for somewhere that's been a fortress since it opened in 2010, they did have the best record from 2010 to 2020 for home results. Only, I think, 3 wins ahead of the Sounders. So the fact that the past 2 years have been more draws and losses than wins worries me, because like I said, in a home dominant league, you got to pick up points at home and set yourself up to build on the road, because it's not sustainable to have 5 wins on the road. When are we going to, I don't think that they can keep this up, and I think losing to an Inter Miami team that I don't think is all that special. I know Campaña is playing out of his skin and Higuain almost had an assist, but I just hope that we can continue to try to complement these young pieces with guys like Luquinhas, with guys like Lewis Morgan, who, if you look at what they spend compared to everyone else in the league, it's not much. 3.5, I think, is the biggest transfer that we've had since Kaku, and we got nothing back from that sale. They just horrible mismanagement from the front office. Happy to say Kevin Thelwell is out the door and barely keeping Everton up in the Premier League, celebrating like they won a title, But I just think that a lot of shrewd moves by the Red Bulls this offseason. Again, Lewis Morgan, 1.5 mil. He's our top goal scorer. He's won a Player of the Week award. He's scoring hat tricks on the road. And Frankie Amaya, man, when I saw him get drafted by Cincinnati a few years ago at number 1, I was upset that the Red Bulls couldn't land, because we had a high spot in that draft. So to see him join our team on a slump for not even $950K of GAM, and him being, I think, our second best player behind Morgan, shows a little bit of progress, because once Thelwell left, the team just looked like they had a new breath of life. Like, that guy, although he was saying he wants to improve the attendances, which are horrible, improve the first team, which he didn't even spend, all that much to try to improve it in the 2.5 years that he was here, mostly just promoting youth academy kids and guys from the second team. I'm happy in the position that we're in, and mainly because we're not going to be at Red Bull Arena. We're going to be playing at Montclair State University for this home game against you guys, this home game. So I'm treating it like it's away.
I was like, you don't have to worry about it being a home game because you guys are taking us Nowheresville, New Jersey, and playing, I don't know, in fields worse than the ones in Honduras. And so I'm like, this is my complaint, and I'm going to reiterate what I said last week. Why does the MLS let you host if you cannot host at your home arena? It makes no sense to me that we have to go to Whereversville, New Jersey, instead of playing a home game here at Bank of America. But you know what? I just wanted to say it because it frustrates me seeing it. It feels so dumb.
You and me both. I'm pretty sure I shared this sentiment with you. I told you that Charlotte's fan base deserved to host this home match. I don't think because of a college graduation, Red Bull Arena should not be occupied for a U.S. Open Cup match. The U.S. Open Cup is the second oldest cup competition in the world, only behind the FA Cup. That's a prestigious thing, and we're letting just a bunch of college kids use our home.
The next round, Jorge. We'll host it the next round, man.
Yeah. At least you guys got us at home in a few weeks as well. I wish I could go down there and experience that with you guys. But this week's game, like I said, I'm trying to treat it as an away game. I don't want to stay home, and I'm going to have that bad juju in the air, and the team is going to get overconfident and try to get a little too cheeky because, man, they can't score a goal to save their life in this part, in the tri-state area, whether it's Harrison or Montclair, man. They can't catch a goal to save their life.
We're making excuses already for the score then?
Oh, hell no. Excuse my language, but I think it might be not a red wedding scenario, but I think the floodgates are going to open. The young guys, although we haven't shelled out a lot to this first team, it's gotten the best out of some of the young players like John Tolkien, like Sean Niels, like even Dylan Niels, his brother. Everyone was quick to talk bad about that move. He's from an Inter Miami team that was, wooden spoon of the league. But I think he fit the Red Bull system really well, and being able to play next to his brother, that's awesome, and just it allows him to be comfortable in an environment that he doesn't really have to have that high pressure of Inter Miami with all the background dealings that were going wrong, with the amount of money that they spent and the underperformance. That definitely weighs down a player. So another player that they got for cheap that has just been an example of what this team has really tried to do the last few years, which is pick up smart players, use the youth academy, and just try to stay within that playoff gap, because once you're in the seventh playoff spot right now, and that's all you really need in the MLS.
We're right above them.
Because once you get the playoffs are a crap shot. It's not like the Supporters Shield, you really, it's anyone's game once you're in.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Shinyashiki mentioned yesterday, how their mentality right now is let's stay above that line, which is great. We need to, especially how we thought the season was going to go versus where we're at now. And then I want to pose this question out to the audience and to you guys as well, Lee. This is more of a Charlotte question, but against Red Bulls, do we play the starters, given that this weekend we're headed to Seattle, in away Seattle, which, honestly, Seattle hasn't been that great, but they still have 3 games in hand, I believe. And I feel like they'll start picking up very, very soon. And so, Lee, my man, would you start Charlotte FC starters this Wednesday against New York?
Yeah, I go back and forth on this. I mean, we've talked about this many times, right? Do we prefer a run in the cup, or do we go for the playoffs? And I think we've all kind of agreed that, getting the cup this year would be pretty impressive, especially being an expansion team. I don't know. We had players like Lindsay benched yesterday, right? So maybe he's going to start on Wednesday. I don't know. I think a good mix of starters. I don't want to overdo our start. I don't know. I can't. I keep going back and forth, man. I think I want the cup over the league this year. So take that as you will.
Okay. I think first of all, we need to start Karol Swiderski and we need to start Kamil Yazviak because after that game,
Oh,
they're
well,
bouncing.
yeah. I give you that.
So,
That would be those two definitely need to start.
so first of all, start those two, and I would play a more aggressive starting lineup, just because, in my opinion, if we lose in Seattle, it's like none of us are going to be shocked because we're going away to Seattle. To keep in mind, we've only gotten 1 point away from home. Every other game that we've played has been a loss, right? And we're going to the CONCACAF Champions League winners, Seattle team that's probably the best team in terms of MLS standard of how you want your team to be. You know what I'm saying? And so, in my opinion, I think we need to start Karol and Kamil because they're bouncing to Poland after this game and start as many other of the starters as well. And I think we're deep enough now that even say once Kamil and Karol leave, I mean, I can see a front three of Rios, Vargas, and Reina, or Rios, Shinyashiki as the 9, and not Rios, Vargas, Shinyashiki, and Reina as a front three in Seattle as well, and I'd still be happy with that front three. And so I think personally we need to go for it in the U.S. Open Cup. Like, put your starters out. Let's try to get this W so that we can come back and host the game and make a deeper run into the U.S. Open Cup. Because the reality is, after that game against Seattle, we also have a bye, so you got to think about that as well.
Yeah, do you start Vargas though Wednesday? Give him about 60 minutes.
That's a tough question, man. I would say yes, but yes, and I would throw a front three of Karol, Vargas, and Kamil.
Yeah, and just let him run at it, right? And then after we whoop up on Redbulls early on, then we could play some of our younger people.
Yeah.
They're not going to make it that easy. Come on. But give us all the bench players. That's what I want. Give me all the reserves.
Yeah, we win on the road though when we're playing the cup.
Yeah, just to answer this question, Reina picked up a little bit of an injury, so he wasn't used this weekend. I think Melo and Hagar aren't ready to play just yet. And can we see Subocinski instead of McCoon? Listen, I had this argument with somebody in the club last week about like Subocinski, and they've told me that he's very low in the center back pool. But I'm like, bro, he hasn't even been given a proper chance. Like, they've said he doesn't look as great in the U.S. Open Cup defensively. But I'm like, it's not like we have prime Ramos and prime Maldini at center backs where like this guy isn't a starter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if he got a couple of runs, we would be able to see, okay, is Subocinski ready or not?
What about Walks? I know he was over getting his green card and all that sorted, but I mean, he hasn't played much either.
Yeah, he hasn't, and I don't think he's back yet. Was he in the? He wasn't a sub this weekend, was he?
I don't think
so. Okay, perfect. Voss, what are you feeling in terms of Redbulls? Will we see a mixture of a starting lineup? Is the Open Cup something that they care about? Obviously, it doesn't seem like they are if we're freaking going to New Jersey.
Look, against DC United, Gerhard Struber went with a mix of a few starters as well as some of the reserve guys. And something that the Red Bulls have always done really well, because we always tend to be on the bottom half of the wage table, is get the best out of our small, young, like the smaller members of the club, like the guys like a Cameron Hooper that joined on a free transfer from Celtic. He had his first goal against the Fire, last Wednesday. And guys like Dylan Nealis, like I mentioned before, who at Inter Miami, they were deemed surplus to requirements, but got a little time with Red Bull too, and got some time with the first team. And I think that's just a good sign for him to start for this Open Cup, because look, if I was in like Charlotte or the Red Bull shoes, the US Open Cup is the fastest way to give your fan base a trophy. It's just a handful of games on your way to the final. And if you take it serious, like Seattle did in their early years, winning 3 of the first 4 that they were a part of, it can really help build that winning culture and that like trophy laden culture that people want to set up. And I personally think that Red Bulls are going to have a not an easy matchup against the Charlotte FC, but definitely with guys like we have a little bit of depth up front. I think Tom Barlow gets a lot of stick for not being on the score sheet, for not having assists, but what he provides is an incredible work rate, and he always makes it a tough time for the center backs to cover him. And I wish he could just get his shots on goal, man, because he's missed some sitters. Like he couldn't hit the back of a barnyard with a Mac 10, man. Like it's bad. But his work rate is something that Gerhard Struber has often credited as to why he gets so much game time. And I think if Charlotte decides to go with a more inexperienced lineup, even though Tom Barlow's only 24, 25, he's been part of a starting 11 numerous times. He's now in his 3rd or 4th professional year with the Red Bulls. And I think even though he has 1 or 2 goals this year, he's playing with a little bit of confidence. And I think it's his time to shine. Like a Tom Barlow goal it's kind of a meme at this point, it's harder to it's like every blind squirrel finds a nut sort of thing, but I think Gerhard goes with a mixed lineup, man. Drew Yearwood maybe starting alongside Frankie Amaya, my boy from the Bronx, Omir Fernandez, on a wing, and the legend himself, Ryan Mara. He's the longest tenured player in the Red Bulls team right now, and he even finally got some game time in the MLS. Like in his rookie year, he had started, I think, 14 or 18 games that year, was on course to win a Rookie of the Year award, and then got hampered with an injury. And he unfortunately had to sit behind one of the greatest goalies in league history, behind Luis Robles, having the Iron Man streak of starting over 300 games in a row. So the U.S. Open Cup is always a time for him to shine. So I'm pretty confident with this lineup that Gerhard's going to put out on Wednesday.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll definitely see a mix in that New York Red Bulls team. And so, they're probably thinking also about DC United on the weekend as well. You host that game against DC, right? Or are you playing away?
I believe so. Let me just double check. Yes, we do. And we actually have their number. We got a 3-0 away win in Audi Field for the U.S. Open Cup a few weeks back. So I think the Red Bulls and DC play a pretty similar style. Before they got rid of Henry Losada, he was very high on pressing and the physical nature of his players, and everyone has to run, everyone has to stay fit. And he always liked doing the counter press when Red Bulls always try to move forward. So I think it should be a easy lineup that Gerhard people forget that DC United, I'm sorry to backtrack a little bit, is the Red Bulls' actual rival. We go back from 1996. It's the Atlantic Cup. And I think with the fact that Gerhard knows that he could put out a weaker lineup than usual against DC, like he did in the Open Cup, and get such a big result, like a 3-0 on the road, is going to make him focus a little bit more on this Wednesday's match, because I think Charlotte they really make you play for your points, man. Even though they have yet to win on the road, it's going to be an interesting lineup because they have a lot of weapons that can punish the Red Bulls in defense. Like, although Sean Nealis has been a stud, not the fastest, Aaron Long is probably going to get rested. He did have an injury scare. They thought that he had re-injured that he had ruptured his Achilles tendon again, which was the injury that let him out for 8 months during DC. So good to see that he was okay, but I think it might be precautionary and he might not start. So the center backs might be Tom Edwards or Dylan and Sean Nealis, and those guys could get burned on a foot race with any of your guys forwards. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a very interesting game, that's for sure. And so that's why I keep saying, throw in the starters, bro. I'm gonna keep crying that, and hopefully Miguel hears me. And boom, we throw in the starters. If we lose with the starters, I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
We lose with the starters, you're okay with that?
Yeah. Obviously it depends on how we lose, but I would rather see us go out with a stronger lineup than put something mixed and then still lose. And I'll be complaining about why we didn't start the starters if we lost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I know where you're coming from, but I don't know. Personally, if Red Bulls puts out a weaker team and we put our starters out and we lose, that's not gonna. I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah,
But it's
still,
funny, bro. There's such a fine line between the Red Bulls starters and their subs, just because of the fact no one's really been able to staple down a starting lineup. It's
Fair.
gonna be, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to call.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get where Jorge's coming from. I mean, but if we start our starters and we lose, I mean, it makes good content for us.
Definitely, definitely.
Win-win, buddy. It's a win-win.
And then before we get into talking a little bit about Seattle, our next game, I do want to ask and pose this question to you, Lee, and everybody in the audience as well. We came out of 3 home games. We won 2 and lost 1. How satisfied are you with these 3 home game run that we just came out of? And I want to hear people's comments in the comments.
I mean, we've said it, right? We wasn't expecting to beat Montreal. We said 6, 7 points out of 9 would be awesome. We got 6. My only concern is it wasn't very convincing to win yesterday, and we beat Miami. But I mean, overall, it wasn't really a convincing win there either. And Montreal kind of did what they did to us, right? I felt like we played a better game against Montreal and got the worst result. But I don't know, 6 points. I don't know, man. What? I'll give them a B minus.
Yeah, I agree with Pancake here. I mean, it went pretty much me too as how I expected it. I was like, we'll definitely beat Miami and Vancouver. Montreal, I could definitely see us losing to. And we did. And to Voss's point, once you make the playoffs, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So let's focus. Like, obviously, I want us to play well, but at the end of the day, I'm more interested in the results when it comes to playing at home. When it comes to playing away, it's a whole different story. That's where I want to see more of the Miguel ball, because I'm okay with, like, hey, if we played well and we lost, it is what it is, right? Versus going to games like we went against Philly and respect the opponent too much and play a back 5, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, we gave Montreal too much. Yes, he is a degree. AC is a degree. Yeah, right. We gave Montreal too much respect, I feel like, and then, like you said, going away from home, we haven't won yet. So why not just go balls to the walls and just see what we can do, man? Just play out, try to play our game, right? I mean, worst case scenario, you just adjust the tactics on the way out.
Real. And this is a question for you, bro. Do you own like a sub shop or something? Where you at right now, bro?
Yo, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm literally at. So this is a thing that we do out of love. It's our love of the game. So I decided risk my lunch break and decide to come to the back room of the restaurant in which I work at. I know it's been really noisy. I'm sorry, guys. I try to get everyone sorted out. Like, get the hell out of here. Just leave me alone in the back. But we can only do so much.
Listen, bro, the fact that you've even taken your lunch break to be on tonight just speaks volumes to me, and say, bro, like, thank you so much for coming on. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, thank you for inviting me. At a drop of any hat, if you guys were to invite me again, I'm doing it all over, Like, you guys showed the utmost respect and love for my time in Charlotte. You were like the de facto guy to anywhere that we had to go. You and Lee, treated us well, all the soccer subs, and just really set a precedent for what this fan base really is. And it's an incredibly welcoming one. It's one that has a special place in my heart, honestly. Like I did mention a little earlier today to Jorge on a personal message. So I'm more than happy to have been able to do this today. Truly a pleasure.
I will say that is one good thing about our Charlotte folks, man. It is a lot of welcoming, right? I mean, you see it at the tailgates. We see it everywhere. And, like when you boys came down, we all hit the town, man. It was a lot of fun, So it was, again, the collaboration between everybody across the MLS is solid too, man. It's just been great meeting everybody.
Yeah, man. It's like the little multiverse of podcasts. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. And then just touching briefly on Seattle, I mean, I think that's going to be honestly, I see that being a more difficult game than Redbulls, to be honest with you, Voss. And so I think it'll be a very tricky game for us. We'll have a whole game on us than they will, and we'll go there without Swiderski and without Camille, and I think without Alan Franco as well. I need to double check on that.
Just more leg room for the players when they fly out, then, right?
Yeah, and I agree with Preston. I'm a little kind of like that same feeling I had.
I don't know. Something's off, dude. I'm saying we're getting like a 1-1 or something, man. We're
The same feeling I had against New England away is the same feeling I have against Seattle away.
That's that Chipotle you just ate.
Guys, I honestly, I'm sorry to cut y'all off, but thank you to everyone in the comment section showing love, and I hope I don't reap what I'm about to say, but I think the Seattle game might be a trap game, man. I've seen them play against NYC in person on the sidelines, doing a little bit of photography for them. Unfortunately, not the Redbulls, NYC FC, even though it's Red Bull Arena. So they have a lot of weapons, both on and off the bench, that can hurt a team that usually tends to try to adjust to their opposition. I think if Miguel had stuck to more of his ideals, I think it could only reap better things. But against Seattle, man, I think he's going to try to give them a little too much respect. Them being obviously CONCACAF Champions League champions, first in MLS to do it. Let's go. Even though I don't like the fan base, but got to show them credit where credit is due.
Right.
1-1.
I see that too, man. Awesome. And then, we have to end it. Harry, that's funny. We have to end the show with score predictions. And we're going to do 2 tonight. So we're going to do the Red Bull predictions, and we'll also do the Seattle predictions. So everybody in the comments section, make sure you put your score predictions for both games. And then I'll start off with you, Voss. How you thinking we're gonna end up against you guys on Wednesday?
Okay, so a funny thing about the Red Bulls on a personal aspect, anytime I think that I'm counting them out, they tend to surprise me and just pull a result out of their ass that was just completely unexpected. Whether it's been this incredible run of form on the road or it's been that result in the U.S. Open Cup, because I thought with the lineup that I saw and how the little media that was covering Gerhard not really talking up the competition, I was a little worried as to how the team would react and how serious they take it. But I think a 2-1 result, I think a brace off of my boy Omir Fernandez, we got this. Let's treat it like an away game. Like I said, I can't have them not getting a home win. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough being a Red Bulls fan sometimes.
Nice. Lee?
Yeah, I'm going to say against the Red Bulls, man, I'm going to go with 3-2. I do want to be one of those games where we go to extra time. And then the Seattle game, I'm sticking with the 1-1, man. I really feel like we're gonna get a point from Seattle.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, guys. I love everybody, but I think it's a 3-0 Seattle win. I think mi gente Raul Ruiz is gonna have a brace, and Christian Roldan's gonna cap it off with the 3-0.
See, where do we find these people at, Jorge, man? Like this poor guy was walking around downtown Charlotte with a Red Bull shirt on, and you picked him up and said, "Here, I'll buy you lunch. Go sit in here for us." That's exactly how this went down, right?
Oh man.
Nice. All right, I'll give you my predictions. All right. So I think we win against Red Bulls 2-0 away. We're still undefeated away in the Open Cup, so remember that.
It's not a record if you haven't, it's not a record if you haven't lost. So you're right. Good stuff. You're still undefeated in the U.S. Open Cup.
We yet to be beaten. Nobody's beaten us in that cup yet.
Exactly.
But and I think we'll see some Polish goals on Wednesday. We'll see Camille on board. We'll see Swiderski score as well. Because honestly, I need my man Swiderski to pick up his confidence again, because he seems like a little bit lacking, especially in that final decision making. His passing and his touch hasn't really been there, and so hopefully a goal will kind of bring his spirits back up. But
nah, man, let him do the same old. Let him be on the slump.
So we have to go back to Portugal, right? I mean, Poland.
Yeah, right.
Dude, look, as a former player of PAOK, I've seen him in the Greek league a ton because, again, de facto Olympiacos fan here. So I remember him scoring the goal that won
gosh.
PAOK their first title in 34 years, about 2 years back. So I'm hoping he still stays on this slump, man, because I've seen that man score some pretty historic goals. And to keep Charlotte unbeaten in their history would be another cherry on top of a pretty awesome career.
100%. So I don't think we'll have too much issues with Red Bull, to be honest with you, this Wednesday. However, we go to Seattle. I'm sorry. I hate going against our team, and I hope I'm wrong. But I definitely see a 2-0 loss in Seattle. But I think we'll play well. But we'll probably lose in Seattle.
Dude, do my tactic. Bet against your team, and they're going to show up on the road, despite if it ruins your parlay or not.
For sure. And, I mean, listen, Lee, if I told you next Sunday that we beat Red Bulls and went through to the Open Cup and lost to Seattle, would you be happy or not?
No, I mean, you always want your team to win, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I see where you're going with it. I mean, again, I think my focus is the cup. It's just, again, and also I just want us to be competitive in the league and just go as far as we can in the cup. And I feel like we're doing pretty well on both right now.
Yeah, I'm like, even if we lost against Seattle, listen, Seattle's gonna
keep putting that out there. Quit manifesting that. We're gonna at least get a point off of Seattle, man.
I like Lee's energy, man. Anytime, yeah. Someone try. Even if I don't believe in the result myself, I could hear someone talk that my team's gonna lose. I'm like, nah, we got this. You never say your team's gonna lose,
right? Until they lose, and you're like, we was expecting it. We knew better, right? Then you dial it back.
Yeah, inside, I'm hoping that we win, that we get a result. I'd be ecstatic, but I think we've already shown that we're competitive in the league, right? We're at this point in time, we're still sitting 7th, right? Albeit a couple of teams have games in hand. But listen, man, a third into the season and we sit 7th. Hey, like, I'm excited about that. You know what I'm saying? I definitely see us finishing, honestly, between 7th and 9th, and hopefully it's 7th. But that's another conversation for another day. But I think we will definitely do well. I love this Juan's optimism. 5-0 against Seattle. Could you imagine we go to Seattle, get our
Just
first win? That would be peak MLS after dark. 5-0.
It really would.
Charlotte
Man.
FC's first away win, just destroying
Veronica with hat trick.
Champions.
Not even. It'd be a Kalina hat trick, bro.
Kalina hat trick, yeah. That's
Kalina. Nice. Awesome. And with that, we end another episode of the MLS Corner. I was going to say podcast for some reason. But Lee, for the two people that don't know where to find you, where can we find you, my man? Inside
we are all over the socials at CLTFC Fan TV. We'll have our fan reaction videos. We'll drop in the morning from the game against Vancouver. So
let's go.
If you were lucky enough to get interviewed or maybe unlucky enough to get interviewed, you should be on there. So just like always, all we do ask you to do is hit the sub button. That's all we request.
Nice. Awesome. And then where do you guys, for the people that don't know, where do you do the interviews at? That way they can head to you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we do it outside the LED entrance, right? As you're coming out the supporter section side, we're right there. You should typically see the ring light and the setup and everybody screaming and yelling and just raising hell. It's a lot of fun, and we appreciate y'all stopping by.
Nice. And Voss, my man, first of all, I want to say mad respects and mad thank yous for you taking your lunch break to be on with us, man. It's truly a privilege.
He should buy you lunch, man. You should make him Venmo you 30 bucks for lunch.
Exactly, man, dude.
Next time you're in Charlotte,
just send you 15 bucks.
For Red Bulls game, I definitely owe you at least a beer, my man. But for the people that don't know,
just one, bro. We need multiple. Come on, it's a party like when we went out in Charlotte, bro. As just keep the beers flowing.
I got you. Tab on me. But where can we find you at?
So you can find me and my co-host at the Soccer Subs podcast on all of your favorite streaming sites, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, Google Podcasts. We have some YouTube content. Yeah, bro. We try to, we're still on TikTok, but we didn't do that, But Anchor, Instagram, Twitter, we try to keep everyone up to date with all the action in the MLS and whatever European action might be floating around the news. But Soccer Subs Podcast is where you can find me and 3-4 other soccer loving nerds.
Really good
Love
people
that.
too.
Yeah, and you guys have had some great guests on there. You've had Vasquez on from Cincinnati. You've Chris Agard, also from Charlotte FC. Sean,
Chris Hagard had a special place in my heart, man. During the inaugural match, I finally got to meet him in person, do a little in-person interview on the field after the 90 minutes when he had swapped jerseys with former captain of the Redbulls, Sasha Kleshin, and that little story broke out. So that was really, really cool. Special moment for me personally. And thank you again. You guys are killing it. Top bin, CLTFC Fan TV. Yo, you guys literally are like the voice of Charlotte. Anytime I need to figure out what is going down in the Queen City, I pop on the Twitter handles and I just look up what Jorge or Lee are saying, man. Always.
Appreciate that, man.
Awesome. Appreciate that, man. Joshua, where can we find players this week? Kerwin Vargas will be at Whole Foods at 7:30 on Wednesday.
Find him at the local Tesco.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble, right?
MLS Corner. Thank you guys for hopping on.
Have a good night.